Hello everybody and welcome to Subnautica 2. My name is Miss Cake and Subnautica is my favorite game of all time, and as you can imagine, I was super excited when I heard that Subnautica 2 was releasing May 14th. Now, it's been a bit since then, and I know I'm a little late to this. However, I wanted to help the community out by making a guide on how to find all the resources in the game. To my knowledge, there are around 20 crafting resources, counting all the minerals and all the different like plant craftables and all that kind of stuff. And this is just for this video. I'm going to go over all of them. In another video, I'm going to go over different fragments and stuff like that for key items in the game and where to find them. So that way, in case people are stuck, I can give a helping hand. And I'll probably go over like creatures and stuff like that in another video. Who knows? But for now, I'm just going to get right into it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Now, getting started, the first resource that you are always going to need in almost every Subnautica game is titanium. It's literally what you use to make the first tool you need. Thankfully, titanium is a rather easy resource to find. The life pod pretty much always will start in the same spot on every map, but titanium can pretty much be found anywhere, especially when starting off in the game. You'll find little tiny bits of it. But later into the game, you are going to need a lot more titanium, and so that's usually when you would end up needing the big ones that you break with the sonic resonator. Now, the best place that I tend to find the larger titanium harvestables, the best place that I tend to find those is over in this area close to the old base. Once you find the old base, then pretty much all around there, but near where like the BFJs are and all these big quartz bits are, somewhere around here you're going to start finding a lot of other resources, and mainly there is a lot of titanium. Here's some of the titanium. There's quite a lot of these all over this area, including smaller chunks as well. This is over by the old base, especially down past this little bit where there's like a path. There's quite a few of them. This is just one of the many places that you can find titanium in this game, especially early on. This is a very big area I always go to for titanium. You'll find it all throughout these little plateau bits, all throughout the caves that are inside of them. There is so much titanium in this area, and it is perfect for right after you get the sonic resonator. I love it. On to the next resource, which is copper, one of the most important resources in the game, and this actually is an area that coincides with another resource very similar to the titanium area that coincides with quartz, except this area. Now, there's obviously copper all over the place, specifically on the ceilings, especially in the starting area. You can even find it on like walls and stuff like that. However, down here, I have noticed that there are actually quite a few of these little copper multiple piece outcrops on the ceiling, and then including probably one of the first times that you're going to find one of the very large ones that you need the sonic resonator for. There are quite a few of those throughout multiple different caves, but specifically where you find silver, there's usually a large amount of copper in the same area. Because unfortunately there is no one place to find all of the copper in the game, especially early on. It is just kind of all over the place, which is the case with a lot of the resources that I go over at the beginning of this video. Now, on to the next most important early game resource, I would say would be quartz. Now, quartz is also able to be found in a lot of spots early game, but the main place that you're going to find a lot of the small pieces of quartz is inside of these coral domes that are literally all over the place in these like safe shallows types of area. Especially early game when you don't have the sonic resonator yet and you're kind of just looking for the single resource bits to make glass or to make the scanner or to make whatever else you might need early game. Now, for the bigger pieces, there is quite a lot in the same area that I said that there's quite a lot of large titanium outcrops in. There is so much quartz all over these plateaus. It is kind of nuts. Like all over the ones with the BFJs, there's quite a bit. Kind of all over the place. So that takes care of all the quartz in the area, which, like I said, able to be found all over the place. However, over there is plenty of the large quartz to get once you have the sonic resonator. Now, for the next most important resource that I see a lot of people really struggling to find is silver. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people really struggle to find this resource. Remember where I said the first area of copper was? It's pretty much the same exact area. There's a little trick to finding any of the silver in this game, no matter where you are, and it's these glowing green and purple flowers. Pretty much anywhere that you find these, there is a silver cave. It is usually the entrance to a silver cave. They can sometimes peek out. Usually they're mostly on the inside, but there are times in different caves that the flowers just peek on out. But, especially early game, this is the first one I usually will go to. It's got plenty of silver all inside of it, of the 3 clumps. It has a lot of these different 3 clumps all over the place once you get inside of the main cave. If you keep on going like through where I showed you where the large copper outcrop was, there is even more silver. Like over here past this colonist bunker that's down here, which I will go over in a later video on how to find all of those. There's quite a lot of silver, including even more copper. Like, this is the same exact cave, it's just a little bit deeper. And all up these walls on this exit, there is so much titanium and silver. It is just the perfect spot to start looking for that. But you can find silver pretty much anywhere you see those green flowers. And there's a couple other places, but mainly look for those green flowers and you'll be on the right path. For our next resource, I am actually going to wait off camera for it to turn day because nighttime sucks in this game, dude. It's gorgeous. But man, is it difficult to see anything. This one's a little interesting because we're going to find lead. This one is honestly not a very much used resource, so I'm not going to put too much into it. But you're going to want to go a little bit directly north from the old habitat until you find this little pad that tells you to go no further because lore. But you're basically just going to hug the coast while going east because this is actually going to lead you straight to lead. It's also got a good wreck here that you need a repair tool. That also gives you a repair tool fragment. So once you get a little PDA message about how there's a cicada vehicle, Altera vehicle nearby, you'll come across this massive thing. There's a couple of little extra tiny bits of lead that lie around like this, but there's also these really big ones. Now, I cannot imagine in the game why you need so much lead. I honestly looked through the entire recipes, and I'm in creative, so I have them all unlocked. And I can't figure out what besides, like, water it's used for. But here it is. So that's lead. I guess we're going to move on to the next resource now. That's kind of like the main place to find it. For our next resource, we are actually going to venture into a different area of the map that we haven't been in yet in this video. And we are looking for salt. And this one is not really easily found in this starting area, pretty much at all. And instead of going into the safe shallows that you know and love, you have to go past the Welcome Center, which you probably have done already, but you probably haven't gone very far past it. You're pretty much just going to go straight southeast from the life pod. It's a pretty easy place to find. There's a bunch of little salt things about 400-ish meters from the life pod, and so you're gonna start seeing a bunch of little salt bits on the floor, including a little bit of sulfur bits, which will lead you to a lot of these little like dead coral things. It is just these dead crabs. There's a lot of these dead coral crab carcasses here, and there's a bunch of quartz, along with a lot of little salt deposits all on their outside. This one does not have that much. Dang. There's like a bunch all on the outside of these, and this is the perfect way to find salt really early game. And you do want to be a little bit careful in this area because if you go just a little bit in the wrong direction, you will end up in this heat zone. Which actually leads to our next resource, because this one is actually mainly found in that area, but the best place that I like to find it really early game is in this thing. Lithium is what I'm talking about, and this thing is just a ginormous clamp. It's called the Great Jaw, like you just saw on the screen, but it's just a big clamp. You can find a couple of things in here, mainly the portable oxygen generator fragments. There's a tadpole down there as well. But inside this little bulb in the center of it, there is a bunch of lithium. This is actually where I get a lot of my early game lithium because it is kind of a hard resource to find. You just got to be really careful because if you touch any of these tendrils, well, big boy go snap. All of his little eyes open. So be a little bit careful about that because he will take out 75% of your health while you're inside of him. So just try and get out before he does. And it is one of my favorite early game places to find lithium because by the time that you usually need lithium, you already have the sonic resonator. So you can usually get it. There's about 6 pieces in there that you need the sonic resonator for. However, just outside of this area, there's this little tailings. It's actually got a little piece of lithium that you can just pick up right there, which is perfect perfect because if you don't have the sonic resonator yet, you can't get those ones. And for this area where we are going to find lithium, we're actually going to go into the heat zone that I talked about earlier. And the place you'll actually want to go for this is over to the tadpole pen. If you go to the tadpole pens, you will learn very quickly that you can't actually do everything here, and it'll give you instruction on where to go to get the little key that's there, and that will actually lead you right to where a massive amount of lithium is. You go some amount of distance southwest until you find the tailings village. This place is actually super cool looking, and you'll basically find this like checker hole pattern in the floor, and you'll go down in here, and down here you will find a plethora of resources, but not immediately. You'll need to turn back around and go into this little hole right here. The game will actually lead you here naturally, but you'll start finding all these lithiums on the wall. These that look pretty cool and look like they're straight out of Astroneer are all over the wall in here, along with multiple other resources, which are actually some of the next resources I was going to go over anyways. In the same place that I showed you how to get the bigger bits of lithium, which is all over this area, you're actually also going to find two other resources. You're going to find a lot of gold, which you can find all over the heat area in smaller chunks, but in here there is a lot of it in larger chunks. And there's all large amounts of sulfur all over this area as well. There's of course many other resources, including titanium, but these are the three main resources of lithium, gold, and sulfur that is found in this area. So this is the place I always go when I end up needing to look for a lot of lithium, a lot of gold, a lot of sulfur. It is the perfect zone. The best area to find those three things. Now, for this next part of the video, we are actually going to venture into the other half of the Subnautica 2 world. But basically, you're going to go back to the tadpole pens just to go over there. You know how it is. You go to the tadpole pens and go just straight on out. And here is said alien base. So this is when you know that you're in the right area for the second half of the game. I'm going to go over basically just everything I just went over, but for the resources in this part of the game. The first one being Celestine. It's pretty dark in this area. There's this big area, but otherwise it's very dark in this part of the game. It's also nighttime, so that kind of doesn't help. Like I said, it isn't very bright, but this is as good as it's going to get. Anyways, if you go from the alien base, which is right up these cliffs, and just drop straight down through this little loop and down past this little lava area, you will find all these little cliffs and jagged edges and such. This is what the resource looks like. You can pretty much only find it in the large form, but this is the area where you find Celestine. It's kind of all over the place. There isn't really one set spot that you'll be able to find it in this area. It's just kind of all over. There's some down there. There's some right here. I see some right there. It's literally just all around these cliffs. So just take a look. You'll find some. There's also this stuff you can also find. It is called creature enamel. But if you decide to go kablowy onto it, I will show you for once. You'll get a bunch of creature enamel. You need it for a couple of different things in the game. It's all around pretty much the exact same area, a little bit more on the side where the base is, but it's pretty much all around the same area where the Celestine is. Now for the next resource, these ones are kind of a little bit quicker because they're all in the same-ish area. This one is actually a little bit different. Down here, where all these little big old quartz things are, there's this black resource called, let me see how to pronounce it because it's a weird one. It's got a weird name. Atacamite. That's definitely not how you say it, but it's this little like black dark green resource. It's a pretty cool one. You don't really need a whole lot of it in the game, but it's all over here, even down there. But there's a few of them that you can get pretty easily in this area, so I just recommend grabbing a few, and then you're pretty much set for the rest of the game on that resource. Now this is one that I've seen a lot of people have a lot of trouble with. This one is the Conduit Crystals. This one people seem to struggle with finding quite a lot, and I can see why. It's not a very obvious resource, and there's kind of not really a lot of places to find it. It's mostly just in this one large area around the main reactor. It pretty much just looks like this. I actually just found some just by strolling around. A lot of people seem to think that you need to go down to the ocean floor to find it. You don't, which is very convenient because you are not going to get down there really early game. But it looks like this. It kind of looks like a weird like glass, blown glass type of thing. It gives you a couple to a few per time that you break it, like 1 to 3 I think is what it is. Yeah, you can kind of find them all over this little rocky area with the red plants and the green blobs, whatever they are. There's a few of them. You don't really need a whole lot for the whole game. You kind of, I think, maybe need 10 at most, and you can probably find all 10, and then you should be able to find some along the ocean floor as well, pressed up against some of the rocks. Let me see if I can find some to show an example. Here's a good example. It's pretty close to the rock face, like I said before. This is one of the other rock faces though, but here's a good example of where to find it. It's right next to some of the big old crab legs from the angel comb. You can also find some more Atacamite, nope, not even gonna try it. Oh look, and I just found another one while looking to go to the next area of the game. Which, moving on, is the metal pools, metal fields, something like that. The metal farms is one of the other largely known names of it, because it's actually where you get a thing called the metal farms, which you will use to basically mass produce resources of any of the ones I've talked about. But over in these metal pools areas, you are actually going to find two main resources that I wanted to talk about. You'll find some different fragments, you'll find the metal farms, but the two that you are going to find is Troilites, if I'm saying that right, which I doubt, like always. These little freaky dudes that make a lot of noise, these little things down here, because you kind of have to break it open, and you get nothing. Where did they go? You'll break it open, and it'll give you this. It is a Axum bacterial culture. It is kind of a little fleshy blab, up close and personal, like those little knitted stress ball things that you had as a kid that always exploded at the worst times. And then Troilites are also in this area, but they're kind of a little bit not in the center. You actually find a little bit up the wall on one side is where I mainly found them. They're these big green uraninite looking crystals if you played the first two games. It literally just looks like uraninite. It's called mineralized clinker, if I can speak English. And it gives you these Troilites, which are just little black crystals. So yeah, that's it for like the main resources in the game. There are obviously some others. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, play more Subnautica. Literally best game in the world. Can't wait for the Subnautica 2 full release to come out. And I would definitely recommend playing if you have not yet. It is, while being in early access, still a very complete game. There is a current end of the game, and hopefully you guys actually like this type of content, since it is such a new type of content for me. I've mainly only done Let's Plays for different games so far, but I hope that this actually goes over well for you guys. I put a lot of effort into this one, and it's my first time doing it, so definitely give me some feedback on ways I can improve. I would truly appreciate it. And otherwise, have a good day, have a good night, whatever it is, and yeah, bye-bye.